Hey everyone, this is Shannon Pemrick from the Rogie Skies box set. I'm one of the authors of 27 others, and I'm here recording from New Hampshire. It's 55 degrees out here, so I'm sitting out enjoying the weather before it gets a little crazy on us. And I'm going to be doing something called the Unpopular Opinion Book Tag for the Rogie Skies blog. And I have a series of questions here that I wrote down because my printer's broken. This tag comes from the book Archer, and basically it's a set of questions based on unpopular opinions. And who doesn't like to give their unpopular opinions every once in a while? So I figured this was going to be a fun one for me. I do apologize if you hear any weird sounds in the background. I do live in a rather active neighborhood sometimes. So let's get started here. Just to let you all know, my selection of books I had to go through is rather small compared to some others, just because growing up I had a reading issue, so I didn't get the chance to read as much as everybody else. And high school really didn't help either, because they shove all these books down your throat trying to get you to read, and they're just never fun books. So it wasn't only, until later in my high school years, and even up till now, my later young adult years, that I've really started getting back into reading, which is weird to hear from someone who writes, but it's a struggle. So reading's hard, which I have now been starting to supplement in audiobooks, which have been fantastic, increasing my enjoyment for books and stories. So I apologize if this isn't as good as some of the others done by anybody else on the blog later. So the first question is a popular book series that I don't like. That was kind of easy for me. There was actually a couple, but I picked one that I just really had a hard time getting into, and that was the Divergent series. It was written well. I just really couldn't get into the characters. I really wasn't a fan. I also have a hard time with the perspective that was done. I like first person, but I don't like present tense, so it was just really, really hard to get into it. But mostly it was just the characters. The plot was good for the first book. I didn't read the second and the third one just because I couldn't make myself. And then when I heard the spoilers of what happened later, I was actually very glad that I didn't, because I would have just felt like, as someone who has to push through with reading because it's so hard, that I would have wasted my time and I could have been reading a book that I would have liked more. So our second one here is a popular book or series that everyone seems to hate but you love. And this one was actually very hard for me to come up with an answer for, because I can't recall reading a popular series or an unpopular series, that I really liked. I have a tendency to also read more obscure books, in the fact that they're not as popular or raved about in modern media and in modern circles. Some of my favorites are Dragon's Bait, Shade's Children, and Sabriel. I've read all three of those books over and over and over again, just because I've enjoyed them so much. And no one really talks about them. So that one I don't really have much of an answer for you, just because I can't seem to think of one. Number 3 is a love triangle where the main character ends up with the person that you didn't want them with. I don't like love triangles. I actually try to avoid them as much as possible. So this one was also hard, because the only book I can remember reading all the way through for the whole series in the last 10-ish years, and everyone's going to hate me mentioning this probably, is Twilight. I really liked that when I was a teen. A lot of teens did. And at the time, I was very much a Team Jacob person. I did not like Edward. I didn't like how he acted. And I just felt that he was better, so Jacob was better, so it was just a case of I really didn't like that it continued down the path. It was, looking back, it was obvious that was going to happen, but, you know. That actually goes into another question. I'm skipping down to question 5, which is a popular or beloved character that you don't like. As I mentioned, I really didn't like Edward. I didn't like how creepy he was, and there were some controlling aspects that I didn't really like even back then, and I really don't like now, going back and thinking about that book. Number 4, we're going to jump back, is a popular book genre that you hardly reach for. I am not a mystery person. I've tried, but they just really don't grab me. And I know so many people who love them, and they love, you know, sitting down, just a cup of coffee or some tea, and just diving into mystery after mystery after mystery. I'm not one of those people, sorry. Let's see here. A popular author that you can't seem to get into. Veronica Roth. As I mentioned earlier with the Divergent, I think her writing is good. Objectively, I can look at that and say, okay, yeah, no, I think her writing is very good. I just I couldn't get into the way she tells her stories. That's not to say that if you did like anything that on this, that you're wrong, and I could be wrong too. But yeah, I have a really hard time with her writing, and I've tried other books that she's written too, but I just can't. Let's see here. So number 7 is a popular book trope you're tired of seeing. Besides love triangles, because I did mention earlier that I just don't like them. I'm big into romance. Not only am I a fantasy writer, more specifically a romantic fantasy, so my fantasy books have a main plot of fantasy, adventure, and all that, but then there's a romantic subplot. And I also write romance books. One popular bit in the romance genre that I really, really can't stand is the increase of alpha male. I like my heroes confident and know what they want, but I don't like them as they are currently portrayed as controlling and jacks and just grade A D-bags and all of that. It's not for me. I do not find that interesting at all. I don't know if it's just the type of person I would, if I met someone like that, I'd probably want to punch them. Like, they would not be allowed anywhere near me, so that's probably a good reason why. I just don't understand why people do like them, but people do. So, but it's just one thing, and it's actually made it very hard for me to enjoy the romance genre lately, just because it's so rampant. So lately I've been actually taking a step back from all of that to read other genres, just because I can't handle it right now. The next question is a popular series that you have no interest in reading. This one is going to be 50 Shades. I have read a sample, the first couple pages of the book, and then snippets from others, and no. I couldn't, I didn't find the writing good. I did not find the characters good, just even in that snippets. And then just talking to my friends who are part of that actual lifestyle, because I do know people of various different lifestyles, and I just saw how mad they were about how she portrayed all of that and how bad it was. And it was just that added to the sourness of how I felt about the books, but I will never read that book just because of what little I was able to read, and I couldn't really stomach it. It was just, in my opinion, it was just bad. And let's see here. Now we're on the last question here, question number 9. And this one I might get a lot of flack for, and I'm okay with that. This particular topic, it can get very opinionated, and the particular book and movie I'm going to pick is very well loved. So the saying goes, the book is always better than the movie. But what movie or TV show adaptation did you prefer over the book? And I'm going to say Lord of the Rings. And I know this is going to make so many people mad, but I really enjoyed the Lord of the Rings movie. Not when I first watched it when I was a teen, but later in life I've come to very much enjoy it. Even though some parts were like, can we get to the plot already, and just kind of moved along. Did feel like it dragged. The books, I had such a hard time, and as someone who does have a hard time just reading because of reading comprehension issues and all of that, it just made that, I think, a little bit harder. The writing was just so dry, and it just long and dragged out, and there was just I felt like it could have been better. So I felt the movie did well, making it more engaging and entertaining, so I could actually appreciate Tolkien's story for what it was a lot better than if I had not had the movie. So sorry if you really hate that opinion, but I'm not sorry at the same time. And that is actually the last question. So I want to thank you all for sitting here and listening to my very unpopular opinions. Everyone's got them, and it's not right or wrong. So I know some of you might end up commenting in the comments here about how you don't like some of my answers, and that's okay. You're gonna have things that you love and hate, and that's all right. So thanks for watching. If you're still interested in here, you're welcome to check out anything else I've written. I've got a lot planned, along with the box set that we're all very excited to be putting out here. It is currently on pre-order for 99 cents on Nook, iTunes, and Kobo. Amazon will be coming later this year. And for a limited time, we are also offering a free book for pre-ordering. It contains 19 other stories that were written by those part of the set. So you can also get that. It's located at the top menu of the blog. And the last thing I have to do is tag someone, and really, instead of just tagging a couple people, I'm just going to tag you guys. I want to challenge you guys to think about your unpopular opinions and be willing to share it. Be a little bit more rebellious in that, and be okay and confident about how you feel about things that other people love or didn't love but you do. It's alright. So just share those. So it was good hanging out here, and happy reading.